We are in desperate times since we are nearing the end of the FM22 cycle, but good news, if you are searching for that last legendary save in this year's edition of Football Manager, look no further, because I am about to present you some awesome save ideas for clubs owned by a sugar daddy chairman. Disclaimer, Newcastle, PSG and Man City are not included in this video. And since some of you might not know what a sugar daddy owner is, let's start with that. Here we go. If you like to manage clubs that come with a built-in financial safety net, I suggest you keep watching, because that is essentially what a sugar daddy chairman does. In other words, they can and will inject the club with their money, so you as a manager don't have to be too worried about overspending or draining your club's bank account. It is also known as a rich benefactor, but let's be honest, sugar daddy sounds way more awesome. There are currently 3 types of them in the game of Football Manager, and each one of them offers a very different in-game experience. So let's start with the first option, an underwriter sugar daddy. Now, this type of owner doesn't necessarily invest in the club as such, but if you manage to get your club into financial trouble, I know I have, they will step in and clear the debts for you. So don't expect these owners to just start throwing money at you, because they simply won't do that. And to be fair, a bunch of clubs in FM22 and probably also in FM23 have this type of owner. But some of my personal favorites that I really want to share with you today are these. First up, Hoffenheim in the German Bundesliga. A very healthy starting balance with almost £100 in the bank. They have some really good facilities, an awesome stadium, and in my opinion, this is one of the clubs to manage in the Bundesliga if you want to try and knock Bayern and Dortmund off their throne. Next up, Vitesse in the Dutch Eredivisie. Starting balance of almost £13.5 million in the bank. It's kind of the same story as Hoffenheim, albeit with less money, but combine these facilities with the underwriter sugar daddy chairman, and I would think that in a couple of seasons you have a very decent shot to compete with, for example, Ajax and PSV Eindhoven. Next up, we have Olympique Gymnast Club Nice Côte d'Azur. For the name alone, check. Better known as just Nice in the Ligue 1 in France. A very healthy bank balance with almost £31 million for starters. Once again, good facilities, awesome stadium. You have a giant to compete with in Paris Saint-Germain, I know that, but in a couple of seasons, it can be done. Fourth on the list, we go to the English Championship, and there we find Stoke City. A starting balance of £10.3 million and, again, decent facilities and stadium. But how awesome would it be to get Stoke City from the Championship into the Premier League for starters, and then of course to compete with the big 6, 7, 8 teams? I mean, a last save in FM22, we all owe it to Stoke City. And last but not least, in the underwriter sugar daddy chairman category, we take a trip across the Atlantic to Mexico, because there you will find Atlas Guadalajara. They have a starting bank balance of £7 million, which is quite nice, I guess. But check out the facilities and especially this stadium, man. Damn. So if you are interested in managing outside of Europe, I would highly suggest this club in Mexico, man. Atlas Guadalajara. Damn, I love that name. And before I show you the next 2 categories of a sugar daddy chairman, pause the video and let me know down in the comment section if there is a particular club in Football Manager run by a sugar daddy owner that you really enjoyed managing. In other words, inspire me and everyone else watching with an awesome safe ID, maybe even for FM23 already. Come on, help us out. The second type of owner in today's video is the background sugar daddy. Not only will this person clear your debts, but they will also try and make sure that the club as a whole is financially stable. So they will often invest as a reward for team performances, promotions, or simply growing your club's reputation. But do not expect these owners to go berserk with cash injections. So they will not give you a free pass to spend all the money you want. That is simply not going to be the case. But in my opinion, one of the major advantages of this type of owner is that they won't expect too much in return after they did a cash injection. So that means the pressure on you as a manager is still somewhat low. And also here, quite a lot of clubs in FM22 and probably also in FM23 have this type of owner. But out of that big list, here are 5 of my favorites. For the first one on this list, we revisit the Netherlands. FC Utrecht in the Eredivisie is an awesome club period. They start off with a bank balance of 11 million. Their facilities are almost top-notch if you ask me, and their stadium is also not too bad. So along with Vitesse from the previous list, this is an awesome club to manage in the Netherlands. Next up, a comparable club when it comes to finances, because Olympiakos in Greece start with almost 10 million in the bank, and except for that junior coaching rating of 13, their facilities are elite. A stadium capacity of 32,000, and all in all, I really like managing in the Greek leagues either way, but combine that with a background sugar daddy who will splash the cash around every now and then, count me in. Third on this list, we are going to Ibiza. That's how you guys pronounce it, right? In the second tier in Spain. They start off with a bank balance of 6.5 million. The facilities and the stadium are not too great, I'm not gonna lie. But knowing that you have that sugar daddy chairman in the background, I bet you guys can take control of this beautiful island club and turn things around. Fourth on the list, we are going back to the championship because Sunderland also have a sugar daddy in the background. And we all know this club, right? But financially, they have 9.5 million in the bank when you start a save. Training and youth facilities are through the roof. And of course, you have that beautiful Stadium of Light with a capacity of almost 49,000. And the last club that I am suggesting for a background sugar daddy is kind of a curveball. Queen's Park FC in the mighty Scotland. They do start out with a bank balance of 1 million, which is nah. But if you look at their facilities and their stadium compared to the other teams in the Scottish second tier, by the way, combined with a sugar daddy owner in the background, there is a lot of potential to make this club into a Scottish superpower. The third and last type of owner in this video is probably the most known one, the foreground sugar daddy. If you are looking for an owner who will inject money into the club without any hesitation, this is it. And I'm talking about transfer funds, facility upgrades, sponsorship deals, anything you can think of. But one thing you do need to know is that they will expect something in return. And that is a little thing called success. Now, of the three types of sugar daddies we discussed today, the list of clubs with this kind of owner is by far the shortest. And obviously, this is the category that includes a lot of Saudi and Chinese teams as well. But of course, also Newcastle, Paris Saint-Germain, Man City, you know these clubs. But especially for you guys, apart from the usual suspects, I have some very interesting other clubs that I'm going to suggest here. First up, AS Monaco in French Ligue 1. A juggernaut of a club, I know, we all know them. But hey, you have Paris Saint-Germain to beat, so a starting bank account of 117 million probably won't hurt. The only thing that kind of worries me is that they have a stadium capacity of not even 20,000. But on the other hand, their facilities, of course, are top-notch. Feel free to take control of this club. Know that you have a foreground sugar daddy backing you up. And I think it's really possible within a couple of seasons that you are able to compete with Paris Saint-Germain. Next up, we go back to Germany, because there we will find a club called Hertha Berlin, probably also pretty well known. A starting balance of almost 28 million, but the main difference with, for example, Monaco is their stadium capacity. Let's round it off at 75,000, which is nuts. And as some of you might know, Hertha Berlin have some awesome facilities as well. So kind of a similar story to Hoffenheim, which we saw before. If you want to knock Bayern Munich off their German throne, Hertha Berlin is an awesome club to do so, because you will have some dinero. Third in this list, a club that got promoted to the top tier in Spain, Unión Deportiva Almeria. A starting balance of almost 7.3 million, 15,000 capacity stadium, and some decent facilities if you ask me. Of course, you know the guys you're up against in Spain, but hey, a foreground sugar daddy might just help to do the trick in a couple of seasons. And the final two teams in this list are kind of a challenge, I'm not gonna lie, but hey, nobody said it would be easy. First up, FC Lugano in Switzerland. And that's right, you start this save game with some debt, but you have a foreground sugar daddy chairman, so you know what will happen. Beautiful stadium set in the Swiss mountains, almost 15,000 capacity. And to be fair, for the Swiss league, the facilities are not too bad. So if you are up for the challenge to compete with Basel, Grasshoppers and Young Boys, this is your club. And finally, one of my favorite teams in pretty much every edition of Football Manager, and this takes us to the lowest tier in Portuguese football, in Football Manager at least, Lusitania La Rosa. Trust me, I know this is a curveball because they only start with £200,000 in the bank and an 8,000 capacity stadium, but to be fair, these facilities are not too bad, and I promise you, they have a foreground sugar daddy chairman. The Portuguese leagues in general, in my opinion at least, are awesome to manage in, and if you are still up for a challenge in FM22 or are looking for an FM23 save game, do it. So there you go. I hope this video gave you guys some inspiration, and to prepare ourselves for FM23, I'm gonna take you over to FM Llama because he's gonna show you how to improve your players' morale. Peace.